All right, as promised, I'm here. All right, so I kind of got an idea, right? My idea is like something to the effect of maybe people don't understand all of what's involved in putting a major match on. Maybe some of you would actually help if you understood a little bit about it. Maybe there's some things that the community in general is doing or match directors are doing because they don't know any better, or there's no new ideas and they're just doing what the old guys before them did. That's all they understand how to do. I kind of want to start doing a little bit of this match directing discussion because I think there's a lot of stuff that we can learn from each other and maybe make some changes to the way that things are generally done and make improvements there. So, today's discussion on match directing, I wanted to talk about sponsorship. So, for those of you that have never done it before, never participated in match as a sponsor coordinator, match director, I'm going to give you a rundown of how I see it typically being done. If you're smart, either in November, December, January timeframe, you start sending out emails as a sponsor coordinator saying, hey, would you like to sponsor the match? First thing you'll do is you'll look down and you'll say, okay, we're expecting to have about 250 shooters. Is this section championship or state championship? And you look around at what other people are doing for their sponsorship. So say your stages are going to be $500. So you'll say, all right, so I'm asking for $500 worth of merchandise for a stage sponsorship. What are you interested? And if you catch them before they've already spent their budget for the year, people are like, oh yeah, no problem, we're in, or you just don't get a reply back, right? So you get these guys' product in, and that's usually what it is. It's certificates or products, and the match decides how they're going to dole that out. Some stuff's going to go to the staff, other stuff will go to a prize table in some fashion. That's done a bunch of different ways. I want to talk to some guys about how they do it. But in general, I want to we can help each other. We can help make matches better. And maybe some of you watching this don't realize how easy some of these things are. And maybe we can get some more people involved in actually helping matches. Because match directors, it's not that great of a job if you're doing all the roles by yourself. So let's see who we can get on board. I know I've got some match directors on board here. Okay, so we're going to bring John from Outdoor Dynamics on here. And Luigi on here. So the audio is going to switch over. It's going to either sound great or it's going to sound terrible. Hey, John, how you doing, man?
Hey, Bill. Good, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I see you've got your ponytail in place.
Yeah. I got a little man bun today.
All right. So did you guys hear that lead in?
Perfect. I got an erection.
Is that generally how we see? Nice. But that's generally how as a match director. So let's get some credentials here. John, tell us about your match directing.
So I am the North Carolina USPSA section match director. This is my third year. 2020 was my first year, and then this is my third year.
Third year. So this will be your third year doing it. Okay. That's pretty new. Go ahead, Luigi. Tell me about your match directing.
I pretty much ran a local club for I started shooting the sport in 2013. Probably it took a more match directing role like 2015. Other than that, pretty much everybody knows who I am. So everybody reaches out and asks for help. So I haven't actually match directed any level 2s.
Holy crap, Luigi. I know Florida's bad, man, but you need to take your antennas off of the alligators, man. Your connection is terrible. We can see you blink. You blink, your eyes are shut for like 10 seconds, and then they're all of a sudden open. All right, so you were more on the sponsor coordinator side then. No, not yet.
No, it's
now
worse.
You're just frozen.
Now
that's
frozen.
A little better. I don't know.
Oh, it's a little better. You can see my beautiful face now.
It's the worst part of you, actually.
Hold on. People only want to see me from behind.
Okay.
All right. So what did you hear? What didn't you hear?
So you've done sponsor coordinating, so we're good there.
Yeah.
So John, when you do sponsorship for your match, is that not generally how it happens?
Yeah, that's pretty much our experience. as well. Sometimes it's weird that a lot of people don't want to get contacted up until like a year. Sometimes is too far out for them. I've come to realize for maybe like some smaller companies like me, but like 5 to 6 months is kind of better for them. I guess
Mhm.
I, I don't know why, but maybe a year out is just too far for them, and they need something. They want to be notified a little bit sooner, I guess, or a little later.
Yeah, I think
Does
some
that
of the
make sense?
I think some of the smaller sponsors are so busy because it might be a small like
Yeah.
me. It's
So
one or two people running the thing, and
yeah,
if you ask me a year out, I've completely forgotten about it until you remind me later on.
yeah. Leif was the same way. I reached out to Leif, and he's like, "Hey, man, just get up with me in a couple months, and we'll work something out." So right,
Yeah.
yeah,
But if you're wanting a big sponsor, if you're wanting to get a hold of, say, I don't know, Sig, Glock, any of the
yeah,
gun manufacturers, Atlas, you got to reach out to them before they've started spending their budget for the year.
yeah.
Um,
Correct.
in addition to that, a lot of the times, come no December, the beginning of December, it's already too late. You know, they already have everything set in stone. It's itemized. Once they get that budget approved and they know what they're allowed to spend, it's gone.
Yeah.
So,
Eh,
and then, I mean, who wants to bug anybody during the holidays during December? So you got to get them mid-November before Thanksgiving and get those requests in. If you have any connections, you can swing stuff after the fact, like very last minute. But for any of the big sponsorship stuff, you need to do it before the fiscal year ends.
right. Any of the big companies. All right. So this is a discussion that I was sitting down having with somebody, and it essentially comes down to this: how you get these sponsors, what does that do for you? What does that do for the match?
You go, who you
Nobody?
want? You
Crickets? I don't care either of you.
yeah.
Just tell me, like,
Uh, so I think like the biggest thing I guess is kind of like a prize table. People are expecting prizes at the prize table now. Um, and then but also like for a section match for us, like we're not in it to make money, we just make enough money to make our match run. So that's like having enough targets and paying, like helping the ROs. I think probably our RO budget is probably the biggest thing, helping them with a little bit of travel, giving them a little bit of money towards hotel stuff like that. That's pretty big for us. So that's where a lot of our stuff comes from,
right,
goes
and
to.
that's pretty typical. So, I mean, what about you, Luigi? Do you have any different answer to what does the sponsorships you brought into the match do for the match?
I mean, you can advertise, you can do that. If it depends on how big they are. If it's a smaller shop, you know, they have some followers, they have some social media presence. You can say, hey, you know, we're sponsoring this. I mean, with Outdoor Dynamics, I mean, you can go on there and on your personal page and be like, hey, you know, we're helping do this. I mean, I see that. I mean, for like 3 months beforehand, I saw you building props, building all the stuff for the section match, and
Yeah,
and it's like, hey, there's a lead up there.
yeah,
It's advertising on your end, it's advertising on the match end. So that's a bigger thing for a lot of the smaller stuff. But uh, it's really tough getting sponsors in this day and age. I mean, Bill, I mean, you've probably seen this in when you ran Area 8 for what, 2 years. Um, the ROI for sponsors is very mixed. It's really tough getting people anymore to just throw, even if it's just product, much less financially. It's just product. It's hard to get. It's hard to get a return on
So we'll come back to that because
that. Yeah,
that's not being done at all. All right.
yeah.
So when we I've tried before. Actually, I managed to do it a little bit because when I was running area 8, I did it a lot different than a lot of people. So I looked at the way that a sponsor usually feels, especially a smaller sponsor when you're asking for their money and they say it's their first time sponsoring a stage and they're putting out a lot of money for them
yep,
and they're like, all right, I don't remember getting tagged on social media, right? Like I set my banners and my banner didn't even make it onto a stage. I don't see it in any pictures, right? And that kind of thing is what some match directors or sponsor coordinators, if that's the person in charge of it, aren't picking up on. Like when you pick up a sponsor, that match is now responsible for at least showcasing that sponsor in the ways that they agree to. Usually it's, hey, I'll put you on the website. If your match has a website, I'll put it on my social media page. We'll tag you. We'll do some posts. there are some matches that do a really, really good job of that, and there's some matches that you may not even know anybody sponsored the match until you hear the name in the written stage briefing, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Bill, how many matches have you been traveling to lately?
I
Like
did
as a shooter during regular shooting.
3 major matches so far this year. I've got
Okay.
14 on the schedule. So
I mean, that sounds like me 2 years ago. But but realistically, I mean, how many people are actually paying attention? How many ROs actually read it verbatim and say that, yeah, there's a banner on the stage, and they're like, oh yeah, presented by blah blah blah, and
right.
there's no anything. They say, oh, take a minute to thank our sponsors, but nobody actually reaches out and says, hey Bill, thanks for
Yeah.
throwing some shirts over. Hey, these stickers and decals that you're sending over are great. Sorry, hey, say hi to the puppy. Thanks for putting ammo on the prize table. I mean, I know primers are it's vaporware at this point. I mean, how you're still doing business is besides me, but it's like
we don't even know we don't know what we're doing. That's the only reason it's working. So
yeah,
all right,
it's
we have these sponsors, and they're wanting that return on their investment, at least in the advertising is what they're writing this off as, right? So anytime they sponsor, that's advertising.
Yep.
Well, sometimes you got good advertising depending on the match director or sponsor coordinator or match, right? Depends how many eyes are getting in front of it, and sometimes how much the money was spent. And so you say, let's go to a big match, right? Let's say a level 3. You might have a stage sponsorship that's like $1,500 worth of product. All right. Now, I can't math that hard, but let's say you have a 40% markup on your product that you're donating, and you're sending either actual product or you're sending certificates. So now you're out already. You're out like, what is it, like $800-900?
Yeah.
If you're sending certificates, maybe they don't all get used, and you don't actually lose that much money. But that's how much money you're putting out. And what my question is this: what has that done for the match, right? So the way I see it is the only thing that's really done for the match is shooters have something. Maybe they can go home with something that's not a cotton swab, right? Staff gets a prize, but it doesn't actually help the match. It doesn't help the match be better, other than you've got that pool, right? You're like, hey, we got SIG as a sponsor this year. That right. The next state over, they didn't get SIG as a sponsor. Who'd they get, right? And I don't know how many of you guys have actually looked at the name of the title sponsor when you were registering for whatever match you were going
to. After the fact, yeah, because for some reason Practice Score is really wonky on getting results, so you have to search up the name of the sponsor because it's Glock Georgia State or Sig Sauer Nationals, and they'll do a typo on the Nationals or it's just,
or they might have put GA instead of Georgia. Stuff like that.
So they'll change things. So the easiest way to search it, I mean, if you're not actively there and you just want to creep on the scores. So like World Speed Steel was this weekend. It's like, okay, I was like WSSC, World Speed Steel Championship. And the only things that came up were like local matches in California. And I was like, wait, who's the title sponsor? SIG. Okay, because SIG sponsors everything now. So you put in 6 Hour, and guess what? The 2022 World Speed Steel Challenge was up. It's like, okay, well, the different titles of how it is. I mean, so yeah, you're getting that, but what are you really doing, and why is it there?
Let me back up a little bit to Marcel's question. So he asked how many matches are running under 501(c)(3)s or C3s. Honestly, hardly any of them.
Yeah, hardly any, and they need to be they need to be set up that way. He's right. Yeah.
Oh, they totally should be. They should either be some kind of LLC so that you can properly track the taxes, or it should be a nonprofit status so that you can, at least you'd be able to write it off as a fundraiser.
Yeah. When we send out our emails, we actually list that in the email saying, hey, you can help us with our match, plus we're a 501(c), so you're going to get that information back.
But it's not always being done.
It's not always being done.
And in the end, even if you do have the 501(c)(3)s, that's helping you pay your taxes correctly, and that's helping the sponsor write off their donation. but that's not actually helping the match though. And this is the
It
part
does.
that's been killing me lately.
That's killing you. And I guess I can't answer that right now.
It drives me nuts. And I'm like, all right. I was like, so for instance, this year when I was talking to Dragons Cup, and they were like, I was like, well, look, I'm actually sitting there waiting for an approval on approve right now, but I'm like, hey, my sponsorship, I'd like to give you, instead of sending your product, your banners up to the limit of the sponsorship are free because you bought that much worth of banners last year, so at least that helps you out. That's my donation to the match. You don't have to spend that money there. You can go spend it where it needs to be spent. And on top of that, I'm going to pay for the dumpster. So I'm paying for their roll-off dumpster.
Yeah.
And
Dumpster fire.
right. So I'm going to have a dumpster fire banner that's going to be included with their banner kit so they can throw it on there, right? But it's
I guess coming back, so you, Bill, you're in a different situation where you're providing like timers for South Carolina, North Carolina, so that when you come sponsor, you are giving us a service by using your tablet, your internet connection. And when you do that, you actually free up, like Dan is my stats guy. You free him up so much that if I need him to go do something else, we don't have to worry about tablets, timers, and all that other stuff, unless one gets overheated, like they sometimes do. So taking away the scoring and all that stuff is big for us as well.
right. And I mean, that's what I want to
Mm-hmm.
do as what Go Fast Don't Suck actually is, right? So that's different than say what SIG can do, or different
Correct.
than say I don't know, just pulling even outdoor dynamics, right? So what I'm looking for is like, why can't we do something a little different? So you're saying cash is hard, right? Because you can only write off cash as your advertising budget as the actual amount of money that you spent,
Right.
because that's what you spent, right? When you write it off as your advertising budget and you wrote off the 15,000 when really it only cost you $800 in actual product that got sent, that's you're getting a little bit there as you're given, but that's still $800 you're out. Why can't I say, hey, look, you can give me $1,500 worth of product. I still love you for it. Don't get me wrong, but I would much prefer you bought me 10 barrels, because of all of our barrels are all shot to hell and stuff. Like if you bought me, if here's what 10 new barrels are going to cost me to have delivered to the range. If you pay that, you're a stage sponsor, and that's going to be a lot less than that $800 that you would have been out for the $1,500 donation. And it actually helps the match. Now,
Right.
I've got new barrels. If I was going to spend that money on barrels, I can go spend it on my staff. Or we can do like play the sad music in the background and have like a picture of a couple staff members. Would you please house these homeless
In
staff
the
members for a
arms of
weekend,
an
right?
angel.
Yeah.
And that's what your donation is to pay for their staff for that weekend.
Well, I mean, but then you also come into it. Usually happens at like bigger matches. I haven't really seen it at sectionals or level twos, but staff appreciation dinners. All that is you're paying for stuff. It's a write off on your business as a business expense because you're paying for something, and you're not just sending product out. I mean that. Hey, how hard is it getting staff?
Well,
I mean,
staff can be hard depending on your
Mm-hmm.
location. Yeah.
yeah.
Especially if
Well,
you're trying to do a match reset staff, you're going to have
yeah,
a few extra than normal.
yeah. How you guys do that up there is pretty awesome.
Oh,
I
I've never
mean,
been able to do it.
uh,
Yeah,
uh,
John does it.
I mean, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, those guys, how you guys get that much staff is crazy. I think area 5 or area 8, area 5, I think, is the one that every club puts on stage is great, and they do reset, but it's still it's tough getting it. But I mean, you're saying how does it help the match? Like sponsorship, you're talking about stuff, you're talking about giving stuff or doing these things. I mean, help out the staff. If you have stuff that says, hey, I mean, ammo is one thing, but like if you're sending in a gun, guns are pretty pricey, so it's only going to be your title sponsors or the larger companies that can do that. But if you can send in, a couple small things that, hey, this is going to your staff. I mean, when I've worked the sponsor coordinating, it's like, hey, Bill, you can hook up like 10 sets of patches or stickers or something like that. It'd be like, okay, well, 8 are going to the match, 8 are going to the competitors, 2 are going to staff. And then
Right.
that right there can be like, hey, come join our staff. Our staff can get this. Thank our sponsors. Thank Bill. Thank everyone else. And it's like, hey, this is what we can do. I mean, hey, even Tim saying he can sponsor matches with like classes or dry fire training, and that's great, Tim. But it's just one of those things that's, hey, can we do something that's just for staff? Can we do something that's for staff and competitors? And hopefully it trickles down and helps the match gain attendance, gain
that's kind
sub,
of
and all that.
That's kind of a catch, right? Are what the competitors really signing up for the match so they can have a good prize table, or are they signing up for the match so they have a good match? And if they're signing up for the match because they want a good prize table, you're probably doing it wrong.
Yeah.
If you're signing up for the match because you want a good match,
Yeah.
I'd rather see an empty, blind, double blind draw and see brand new walls on the range that are painted so that it's easy to identify hits. It's not the same ratty walls that were used the last 2 years in a row. Tim, if you want to join on, just say you want to join on. I'll put you in. I got room for one more. So, but this is the kind of ideas where I'm looking for, like, what do you think? Do you think that would help your match more if instead of in your sponsorship listing, right, you said, hey, we're accepting our donation this year for $500 worth of product for this, or you can pay for one of my staff to be in a hotel for that weekend, and you get the same exact sponsorship. You get the same exact notifications. You get your banner up. You get discussed on all the same briefings, all the same investment in the advertising that you would have been paying for all that money worth of product. You don't have to send it to me. Just send me a banner, right?
Yeah.
And it would be done, and we'd have a little bit better situation financially to help the match, make it a better match.
Yeah. Yeah. I like your questions. They're good. Because some of the emails I've gotten back are, what do you want from us? And sometimes I'm like, what can you give? What do you want to give? What have you done in the past? What have you done for other matches? And they're like, well, we do this, this, and this. And right. And I've never thought about, hey, we need more. We cut our 2x4s. Yeah. We cut our 2x4s in half to make walls. Right. So what if you call up the lumber yard and put it down your credit card or something like that? Yeah.
Well, even if you have ready-made ideas ready, and then like you say, hey, I talked to the local lumber yard. This is what it'll cost. If you want to pay them directly, we can set it up like that. If you want to send it into the match, we can do it like that. Somebody's audio sounds like they're dying in the background.
Yeah, it sounds like doom.
Oh, it's definitely
It's Florida, man.
Yeah,
all right.
No,
It's
it was
definitely
a
Florida.
plane. It was a plane overhead.
yeah, sure it was, Louie.
Oh yeah, a chainsaw massacre over there in the corner.
So we had a question that came up where it was like, are companies actually expecting ROI, or are they just supporting the sport? And no, it's not a business decision. Some people will do it for the love of the sport. I'm guilty of doing both, right? Like if I'm on the range doing match support, I'm really there because I love the sport and I really want to support the match as much as possible. The whole booth thing is just so I can make the trip pay for itself. Otherwise, it costs me a lot more than it should. But if you talk to any of these other companies, they really would prefer to see an ROI than just doing it for shits and giggles because they love us. Especially the bigger guys. I don't know that they love us that much.
Yeah, I don't. It wouldn't make sense for the bigger guys to do it for the love of the sport because they're on a different level than us low people.
Well,
I mean,
look at us.
like,
Look at us.
right,
We buy one gun and shoot the hell out of it for 3 years.
Yeah, we don't have these huge 100,000 square foot warehouses and employees we got to pay for. We're doing this stuff out of our homes.
And Tim brought up another
which
point
is
that I
fine.
wanted to talk about, which is there are companies that have been doing this and have just not been getting the love for it, and nobody's been realizing it, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
So CED, longtime sponsor of matches by handling your chrono for you. They'd send you a chrono kit, basically, even with the infrared screens and everything. And we'd be like, all right, we got CED and we'd put them over at and it never really dawns on most people that, like, hey, that's huge. They're actually supporting your match.
Hey, Bill, you remember back in the day they would do the big displays, the big boards? I mean, like
The billboard,
that's
yeah.
pretty, yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, you can see timers and all that. I mean, I haven't seen one of those. I haven't seen CED throw those out there in forever, but it's like, well, usually they get sent out, they never get returned. They end up in somebody's car, and it's like, why are they going to go and foot the bill, like send in thousands of dollars worth of stuff? Nobody really cares because, it's chrono and you see it once and everybody thinks it's somebody's personal chrono that they brought out because that's how most local matches are. That's how everything is. So it's like,
I don't know if
Uh,
anybody
oh
recognizes the dude
my
with the beard.
goodness. Look at that beautiful face.
I
Oh,
feel like this is an
jeez.
episode of Brady
Oh my
Bunch.
God. Yeah. Oh,
All right,
wow.
Florida man,
Oof.
you're gonna have to
So,
keep it down.
oh
Your
Yeah.
man,
your lover's on the line, and he has
I
all
need a
the
towel.
dirt
I
on
need
you.
a towel.
You- you've been you've been you've been gone for a while, Luigi. That's what happens when I just don't know what to do anymore, man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Your rule was as long as I shaved, and I was like, okay, but I haven't seen you in 6 months, so.
You know what? I've been a bad wife. I've been a bad wife.
So Brian, I know that you've been watching the discussion. I brought you on because obviously
Yes.
you support a lot of matches.
Yes.
What do you think about this conversation from a business side? I'm asking
Okay,
you from
that's
the
good, 'cause
business side as a sponsor of
different
matches.
thoughts. I have built a brand because of sponsoring the shooting sports. So I'm very passionate about the shooting sports. And it's like somebody asked me a while back, are these good for playing golf? And I was like, yeah, they're really good for playing golf. And it's like, you need to go hang out at a golf course. And I'd say, well, the day that the shooters stop buying Hunters HD Gold, I'll change my business plan and I'll go hang out at a golf course every weekend. But I mean, that's a true statement. I'm here because I am very truly passionate about the Second Amendment and the shooting sports. But we're in it to make money. We are not for profit. So we have to do
Right.
what we have to do, which
So
is
here-
why you saw the branding I've done from year one. There used to be actual Hunters HD Gold on the prize table, and then if somebody wanted to exchange it, that costs money. If somebody wanted to get a prescription, we had to return it. That cost extra money, and they were making stuff twice. But I had to do something to do branding to get the product in people's eyes and face, or other people seeing them, they could wear them and talk about them. So it's everything I've done for the past 5 years has been strategically put in place, and now we didn't sponsor a lot of matches getting started because we were sending out complete sets of Hunters HD Gold and yellow boxes, and that all cost a lot of money to get branded. But we didn't. I had a plan with Sherry that the first 3 years was branding, and you don't look for a major profit in the first 3 years. You look just to cover expenses, and this is a decision we make to get going to get a product rolled out there.
Right. Now, I just want to point out when I'm talking about this, people, maybe you guys don't, maybe you guys know, I know all three of you guys know, but companies like Shooters Connection, CED, Steel Target Paint, when they're sponsoring a match, it's actually helping the match because it's money we don't have. Say it's like, even if it's just covering the shipping, that's huge. That's actually really huge as far as the cost of getting those targets to the match to be able to shoot at them. And Brian, your business plan is completely different. And everybody knows how much you support because you're there. I mean, you can hardly go to a match and not have seen Brian at some point in the last 3 years, right?
Right.
But Brian, you also have your ear to the ground a lot because you're like one of these connecting rods when it comes to people in this sport, right? Well, actually, I think you're more like the connecting rod. I don't see a lot of Brians running around.
Yeah.
But so if we started talking to sponsors like we're talking now, and we're like, hey, and because I was sitting down with Da Vinci last weekend, and I was like, hey man, I was like, what did you give to the match? And he's like, oh, I gave him a rifle and I gave him some certificates for some product. I was like, oh, that's awesome, man. I was like, I'm glad you did that. I was like, how much does that cost you? And he gave me a number. I was like, 10 barrels for this match where they're out here saran wrapping them so that, they look nice. I was like, that would probably cost about $300. I was like, if we did that instead, it would actually help the match. would you sponsor the match if that's what they asked for? He's like, man, nobody's ever asked me this question.
Right.
What do
I
you
mean, hell,
think,
for that,
Brian?
I would sponsor a match.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
Luigi's Get
I
Tilt in the Streets Training Company
yeah. Would
sponsor
you?
a
It'd be
match.
IDPA though.
Oh, I would do everything. Why not? Let's go. I mean, we got a rowboat out there. I'll do rowing too.
so from a business side, Brian, what do you think?
I personally think there's some great match directors out there that plan ahead and really strategically make the vendors or sponsors part of their business plan for their match. And there is a majority of match directors out there that contact you less than 4 months before a match because they were like, oh, hell, I forgot to get sponsors. So there has to be, a change from what the match directors want from their match. I'll do anything a match wants, but most of the time the match just says send stuff. It's the same old thing, which is why I made it so easy for match directors to get sponsored for a match. I just want to know the answer to your 5 questions. I don't even need to see your PDF anymore because 90% of the PDFs never even told me where to ship the product to. So I mean, and I didn't have time to go chase people down to get that information. So that's why I make everybody go to the website to sponsor a match to streamline everything to keep my life easy. But it's totally different from like you said, in the Carolinas all the way to the East Coast, West Coast, and everything in between. I've seen it all. Some people are very passionate, and some people are like I just said before, oh hell, I forgot. So,
Right. And they don't, and that's a match directing thing. If it seemed a lot of guys like John, when you took over doing match directing, who showed you how to do match directing?
I listen to podcasts. I listen to the match director podcast, right?
I remember.
Learn. Yeah.
They asked me. They were like, "Hey, we want you to be the match director." I was like, "Oh, all right, that's interesting. I've never even been the local match director. What's involved? Do you have like a checklist or something?" They were like, "Oh yeah, no problem." And it was like 3 paragraphs. I got 3
I mean, I'm still in branding mode. If you go to the website and send and fill out the form, I'm sponsoring your match. I'm still, we've got 3 more years of branding, which seems like, that's a long time, but there's a reason why we're doing exactly what we're doing to make it where, we've already seen new people come to the sport, this year. There was probably over 30% at the World Speed Shoot this past weekend that were never been to a World Speed Shoot before. I thought I was going to be going there for, warranties and just customer service. And I was there selling product like crazy. So I just never know. But, there's so many, I personally, if a match says I need cash, I don't personally see an ROI on that. And the reason being is, in my mode I'm in right now, if I'm paying cash, I'm not putting product on people's faces.
Well, what do you see for the value of so the value that you're seeing is because you're putting product on people's faces. I got you. Because they're not going to know what you've got until they actually wear it.
That's correct.
I've seen that so many, even in the last weekend, there was like 6 people that were like, are you serious? I was like, go ahead, just borrow them, just go wear them.
Exactly. But like he said earlier, though, if somebody called me up and says, hey, I'm going to buy some stuff at Lowe's, and would you mind, paying for this for your credit card? I've never been asked that before. So I'd probably go, well, yeah, let's see what we can get done. So, nobody's ever challenged me with new ideas besides just cash. And when they say just cash, that doesn't tell me what the money is going to be used for. I sponsored the Florida Open, and Frank Garcia was over it this year, and he told me how much cash it was going to need, but he actually specifically told me this is going to buy dinner for the ROs, and we're going to announce that you bought dinner for the ROs.
And that's an important thing. If you're actually going to ask for something specific like cash, you have to specifically know what you're going to spend that on, as far as changing the dynamic of the way we do sponsorship here in the States. Because honestly, if you go to IPSC and you look at any of these IPSC countries, none of them deal in product. None of them take sponsorships in product. It's all,
Right.
maybe Brian's got something different, but I'm seeing over there they're getting, all right. Your howler, was that a plane landing on your house?
Yeah.
Yeah. Luigi knows a lot of important people in his area. He's all good.
Yeah, he looked up like he was afraid it was going to be a bomb.
Hey, you know what? I got alligators over here. I got a crocodile Dundee over there. Planes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Every business has a different plan. And, my model I took off of was a model that was been out there before when I was inquiring and talking to other companies. And JP Enterprises pretty much using the same model I'm using now. That's just one of those, it's, I asked a lot of questions and, to people that have been doing this for, when I first got involved, I said, what's the best way to do this? And I talked to a lot of people to ask a lot of questions, but the match directors, going back to what expectations you have at a match. I have been situations where when I get to their day one on RO days or the first day the competitors come in, and they're doing the stage briefing, and I like to sponsor stages. The reason I sponsor stages is because when people are taking their videos, those banners are there for people to be seen. It's the silent salesman. It's just there. But when the first day of the match, the ROs are all excited. This stage brought to you by Hunter's HD Gold, and then they're excited about it. And then by the third or fourth day, they're all like, "This stage brought to you by Hunter's HD Gold." There's 32 rounds, and they don't care anymore because they're tired too, and I get it. But so it's all about how the CRO or the match director is keeping the CROs engaged through that process to make sure they've had enough breaks. They're still staying with energy because the match, you've been to matches on day one and you maybe worked at matches on day one, and the match is not the same on day three because the people's level is just starting to crash. So
Well, it's a whole level of I don't want to say misunderstanding, but not understanding your role. Like as a match director, if you're doing all of the roles on yourself, it's going to end up like Brian just discussed. That's exactly how it's going to go. You might remember to post something. You might remember to put a banner out. You might not even remember to put the damn thing in the written stage briefing. But if you got a sponsor coordinator where their only job is to handle that. And the funny thing about having a sponsor coordinator, guys, right? Like, John, you got a sponsor coordinator, or are you doing it on your own?
So Stephanie Berry, the section coordinator, her and I, we tag team this deal. So she does she helps a lot with the sponsorships that I does a lot of the Instagram posts and stuff like that. She's really creative like that. And then I'm, helping with emails and stuff, and then more boots on the ground with the range. That's kind of what I'm best suited at.
That's a great dynamic. And what people don't realize is, what the people that are watching this that have never done any of these roles may not realize is, if you volunteer to be a sponsor coordinator and you can be creative about it and you're active on social media, you're going to blow it out of the water. You may not see a big like improvement of what you wanted on year one. It's when year two of you doing it and people seeing the effort you put into it the first year, you're going to attract more sponsors than you did the previous year.
Well, I will say that the sponsor themselves need to take accountability for what they want to get out of their experience sponsoring a match as well. And
they
what
should.
I mean, well, let me tell you what I mean by that. There was a major sponsor, at the event I was at this past weekend, that the match started on Wednesday, ended on Sunday. The title sponsor rolled in on Saturday and left early on Sunday. You're not going to get a return on investment unless you're part of the match.
No.
Yeah, you saw that at Area 6 this year too, right?
I don't remember who was the title sponsor for that one.
I can't say.
Okay, well that's fine. I just don't remember who his title sponsor was, but that's fine. But yeah, if people aren't there, it's not important who's it. But yeah, you're right. If people aren't there, it's the same conversation I've had with Bill before or somebody else, that when I paid to have the privilege for official eyewear, if I just paid that money, didn't do anything with it, it's not worth anything. I had to own that and take more money and invest and market it the right way, because otherwise it's not USPSA's job to promote that. It was
No.
their job to give me the title with my money. So, you have to take the sponsors have to take accountability for what they expect from their match. But Bobby does that with Southern Barbecue. Bill, you do that. You go out there, you're having a good time with people coming by. You're just not sitting in a chair, looking at your phone. And when somebody walks up, you're looking like you're bothered. You're engaged with the customers that come to you. And the same thing when I saw, with your ammo company, you were engaged with people that were coming there saying, hey, let's talk about this. You're not just there like they're a bother. So, but I don't see that. I don't see that with all the vendors, and then vendors get there. Then all of a sudden they're like, well, this isn't worth anything, and they don't come back. So some of that's on the vendor.
Yeah.
Right.
Federal was the sponsor. That was my joke, and it was a swing and a miss.
Oh, shit. But Federal's not showing up to anything right now because they don't have any ammo anyway. I've talked to Jason about that. Jason doesn't want to, and this is public. Jason doesn't want to set up a tent at Federal and all of a sudden they have to answer the questions all day. When are you going to get ammo? Because he don't know either. So I get that. But, it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. But you make what you want to get out of that sponsorship. Now, with people like Bill doing his setup with services, what I do with services, does that make matches different? I hope it does. That's why I'm enjoying, doing what we're doing and getting more people involved and giving energy drinks to like somebody said, giving energy drinks to the ROs to keep it energized for the rest of the match. So,
Wake up. He drives by and just throws energy drink. You look tired. Here, drink this.
Exactly. Say my name better. Say my name better. Here's a drink.
Don't have allergic reactions. I'm not covering it. So Split Nines had an idea about a content creator for a sponsor. So this is going really deep into like match directing, right? But we have people that create a new social media account or change the name on their social media account every year for their match, and it really makes it hard for people to come back and find you, but having a sponsor content creator for your match would be amazing. Like
there's people you can get to get that contract worked, and if you're only doing it once a year, it's not that much. You just got to start asking questions. Or get it donated as a sponsorship.
Yeah, I mean, you have Marco out in Texas for Dragons Cup that's coming up in a few weeks.
Yes,
I mean, he has a full social media account that is active all year, and it's not just about his match. I mean, it's about the industry. It's about events. It doesn't matter. It's content that's out there. And yeah, he had a rocky start because he had to postpone, and then the scheduling conflict with Area 6 a few years ago. But it's hey, he's doing this. That is the type of thing that can make or break a match. I mean,
he does it, and guess what? It's one of the, even with the hiccups he had, he's still one of the premier matches that happen in the country right now.
Absolutely. Even though it's only been 1 year.
You ask people in USPSA, and they're like, you're either here about Nationals or Dragons Cup right now, and that's pretty much it. And usually Nationals because they're like, oh, I don't want to fly there.
Just because,
Or you hear all the bad things about Nationals, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, and you got Infinity Open doing the same thing now. They're building something from the ground up that's getting ready to start again as well. And it's I think economics and everything else it's putting a lot of hurt on that right now, but it's still getting built. And when they start posting what their match was, just like they did at Dragons Cup, and everybody saw the stages. Year 2 is on point, and it's going to be the same thing with Infinity Open, in my opinion.
I mean, John was doing the same thing with the SC sectional this year. He was building props and doing all that stuff, posting it on social media. Granted, it's from his personal or business account, but it's still hyping up the event. It's hyping up his business too. I mean, that circles back to what we were talking about before. It's he is putting the match on the ground. He's doing all this stuff. But he, as a sponsor, as the business is Outdoor Dynamics, is using that as advertising himself. And Brian, you were saying the same thing. It's what are you doing as a sponsor? Why are you, reasoning what you spent? And you're the official eyewear of USPSA, and you're the official eyewear of the 2022 US
20.
team 20. I
You
can never
just have to
remember. I mean,
remember what year it was.
well,
Exactly.
no, I mean he's the he sponsored the team, the World Shoot team, but it was for 2019, for 2020, for 2020, now 2022. It's like I just don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
I stopped putting the date on the back of the jersey. Just World Shoot team sponsor.
yeah, so it's something like that. It's he's using that to advertise his own product because he put up the money or he put up the product for that.
Correct.
John, you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You're sponsoring the match. You're putting the match on though, and you're using Outdoor Dynamics as your venue for advertising. In this case, it could be like Donna Webb. Donna Webb said, "Hey, Facebook, you can do the planner," and that's great. And that's awesome. And if you guys don't know, Donna Webb helped
Area 6.
put on Area 6 this year, and last year. So she was a co-match director, I believe.
Yeah.
Hi, Donna. I haven't seen you since it was in St. Augustine many years ago. That was a long time ago.
So, I mean, I'm scrolling through right now trying to see if there's any other sponsors in here that, you know, major match sponsors I could pull into the conversation.
Da
But
Vinci showed up for a little bit.
yeah,
Southern
I'm
Barbecue.
not finding him. Well, yeah, Bobby's similar to Brian to me. He's there, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll bring him in. I got to kick somebody out to bring him in.
I'll step out for a little bit because John with Outdoor Dynamics has been doing really good with his marketing lately. So I'm excited to see where he grows. So put him in there with Bobby. And if you need me back in, I'll be watching and doing my Monday night guilty pleasure on TV. So.
Oh, it's porn again. I know it.
No, it's not call me out. It's
No,
not.
Bill, it's not. It's porn again. It's what kind of porn again?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
It's
It's Monday. My bad.
Yeah.
Monday night. So y'all can figure it out on USA. So.
Brian, I love you, man. It's great seeing
Thanks,
you.
Brian.
Great talking to you.
Appreciate
You
it.
as well.
Come
I'll
on,
see you
Brian.
soon. If you need me back, I'll be here.
We'll do, buddy. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
All right.
It's amazing.
So,
It's amazing that guy still comes on with all the shit you give him.
oh well,
Brian?
I
Yeah.
kind of like. I think he likes it.
He does.
It's a love hate
It's-
thing, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm looking for is like, you know, I started this conversation because I actually started it last weekend talking to a sponsor and Todd over at the South Carolina section championship, and it was just like, hey, have you ever thought that maybe we could do this a bit better and help the match instead of just putting prizes on tables? Hey, Bobby.
What's up?
I'm hoping to see the wife. Where's Kim? I mean,
I don't know. She's poking around.
Ah, damn it! I was hoping she'd pick up the phone this time. How you doing, brother?
Good, buddy. How are you guys?
Good. So, what was the last match you helped out? You were down there with
USPSA or IDPA?
IDPA is fine, man. We
Yeah, I
got
was just-
two,
I was
we got
just
at
at the-
least two IDPA shooters here.
I was just down in Maryland State for Mike Haskins down there in Southern Maryland.
The Maryland State Championship. Yep.
Yep.
We sponsored that one too. Yeah, we
yeah.
got some banners up. The big banners that say "Making fun of you since 2019."
Yeah, buddy.
So what do you think about the idea, Ben?
Me?
Yeah.
I
I mean, you got a whole different thing. You're putting food in people's mouths at matches, and it's awesome, and
So-
people just don't.
Yeah, I was listening to everything that you guys were saying. You know, it's like I'm on the other side of everything with, the sponsorships and stuff because I'm paid to be there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm seeing sponsorships and vendors and people. It almost looks like that it's almost going away. And I don't. On your side as a match director, getting the sponsorships there and how you get your money it's all foreign to me. But what I do on our end as basically an employee of the match director, we try to give the best service to the range, the match director and the staff as we possibly can do.
Well, hold on. So let me stop you, man, because you're really putting yourself down, and I want to try to get people to realize, maybe just get you to realize, right? You're your product, what you bring to the match is not just your food. Because we can hire, I mean, all
Right.
kinds of matches hire all kinds of people to bring food, right? One
Right.
of the reasons they hire you is not only is your food good, right? It's awesome, but you're there, and if there's a way you can find to help the match, like even if it's organizing staff to be able to get their food quickly and get them situated, or you know how to take care of the shooters, what you're offering is not just some guy showing up with a grill and making food for people. You're offering, hey, I understand how match flow works. I
Oh
can
yeah,
help
yeah,
you
yeah.
think your match through. All right.
Dude, we
And that's
were
what,
helping Delmarva make reservations for the staff at their hotel.
but this is what I'm saying. So
You
it's,
know what I mean?
so you're putting yourself down as just being an employee,
No,
but
no, yeah,
I
yeah,
know better for what you do. Okay.
yeah.
So, but you're one of those people that are out there actively on the range trying to find a better way to do and help the
Yep,
match along. And that's
absolutely.
why, I mean, Bob, I love you. Your food is awesome. I've had barbecue other places. I've been to matches that have had decent food, but they didn't have a guy there that obviously cared as much about the shooters in the match as you do when you're there.
That's the truth, man. We really do care about the shoot. We tell people all the time we're usually the first ones on the range and the last ones to leave. You know, we literally spend all day there. Other than Brian, Brian beats us there most of the time.
Brian beat me there, and I was sleeping on the range in my
I was like,
camper.
how's Brian beating me there? And I'm camping on the range. You know, it's kind of funny, but you know, it's all we can do is give the best service we can possibly do and hope that the positivity spreads and everybody, you know, they stay motivated. You know, I heard somebody earlier was mentioning about, you know, the last day, the energy levels going down, and hopefully it's, you know, our efforts are there. You know, the positivity that we bring is, you know, to keep the staff happy, because, you know, the match is going to be ran by your staff, and so basically the match is going to be as good as your staff that you have running. So
Right.
our job is to make the staff as happy as they can be.
Dude, you had to cover your own ears.
I'm
That's
covered
why.
by
I feel like I'm on a plane
I'm
right
trying
now
to
with
help you
those
guys.
airplanes flying over, man. That's crazy.
Oh hell.
But yeah, I mean, you know, as far, you know, we're even trying to branch out, and, you know, we're trying to very grassroots sponsorships on our end, you know, with a little bit of a shooting team here and there. Yeah, you know, we're not just a food vendor anymore. We're trying to be more than just a food vendor.
Oh, he's so cute. He's getting
I
so
know.
grown up. We
He
love you,
is.
Bobby.
Oh, I'm flourishing. Yeah, yeah.
All
Heck,
right, Bob.
I even shot my first match. I wish Brian was still on. I was going to tell him about that.
Oh,
But,
yes, you did. You did. With
Yeah.
Hey,
your
we've been trying to get
jersey and
Brian to
everything.
shoot a full USPSA match.
Yeah.
Whatever. He rang the 1 mile steal and Jake didn't. He's so tickled. All right,
Yeah.
Bobby. It
I
was good
thought
having
it
you on,
was,
man.
huh?
It was good having you on, man. I'm not trying to be rude, but I want to kick you off and see if I can get one of these other guys on here
Yeah,
too,
right on, man. Do your thing.
Is Tim still
Love
in
you,
the
buddy.
queue? I mean, he said he would jump on for a second.
Kim?
Tim Herron. I mean, he said he'd jump on and talk. I mean, he's starting to do the sponsorship
I
thing
don't
with his
see
old
him.
training company.
He's not up
He
here.
might have left.
So yeah, Tim was saying he was willing to sponsor matches by throwing his certs for his training in there, and that's
Yeah,
awesome. Look, I'm not saying that doesn't. I don't want people to get it wrong. I don't want people to think I'm unappreciative of sponsors doing the way they're doing now. I'm just wondering if we can try to change gears to make it a little bit better for the match to be a better match. That's all.
Well, Tim did say that the barrels thing was a great idea. So I mean, for him that'd be great. But for the
Right.
ROI for somebody like Tim, I mean, maybe the certificates is the better option, because hey, you get somebody that wouldn't either afford or know about his training company now. So it's like, yeah, that ROI for him would be better at that point. But I mean,
But
if he's willing to throw some barrels out there, that'd be great too. You know.
there's ways to do this if you want to be creative about it, right? So Tim Herron has his barrel. What the hell is it called? He's got a
The barrel drill or whatever it's called.
right. He's got a challenge that involves
Yeah.
barrels, and he's got patches and everything. It's cool. But like so let's say Tim wanted to put some energy into it, doing it differently, right? Tim might go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to pay for brand new barrels for you guys, but you need to put the stickers I send to you, and he sends them a sticker that goes across the entire barrel long ways like he does everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And those have to be presented at the match when you have my barrels on that stage. Well, I
That
mean
go.
that's a brilliant idea, right? So not
It
only do
is.
you get it there, but when the local club sets up their match, them lazy asses aren't going to change. As a local match director, I'm not going to
Yeah.
change that barrel. I'm not even going to put a new layer of paint on it. I'm just going to put the
Yeah.
barrel out there. And
Yeah.
you know what? When I see it has the Tim Heron logo, I'll rotate that bitch out so it faces the crowd,
Yeah.
right?
But I mean that's going to be one of those things where, hey, I'll put these on but you got to put the label on there. I mean, I
Right.
just shot an IDPA match last week or the week before or something like that, and I put a video on the internet, and it was the outdoor dynamic stage. So I mean, John, you saw that, you reposted that's great. I mean, it's advertising for the sponsors, right? But I shot it on staff day, and I literally walked up to the stage while they were stapling those banners up. So it's like, and that's at the end of the day. So it all depends on the match director, if they have this help, or if they have the sponsor coordinators or anything like that there to put the banners up. I mean, I've been to matches, and I used to travel with Brian a lot. Brian would have to staple his own banners up, at the end of staff day, before the main match, because it's just physically not up there.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where Brian mentioned, you're going to take as much as you as a sponsor is going to put stuff out there. You're responsible for your own ROI to a certain extent. But if you physically can't be there, I mean, a lot of these major companies.
But the bare minimum, dude, is making sure that the sponsors' banners are up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one of the
really.
easiest things to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's
with
supposed to
everything
be.
else,
It gets
it's
messed up.
supposed.
It gets messed up, and people
Yeah.
will understand. But it's like, guys,
Come on.
I understand you get overwhelmed, and that's why I'm saying have a sponsor coordinator. Let all that other bullshit be their job. Let your stats person be the stats person's job, and come match day, double check your notes that say, hey, this stage is supposed to have these sponsor banners.
Yeah.
The notes that your previous match director gave you, those 3 paragraphs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what I'm saying is like, and this is why I want to do like a whole series on this, right? So it's not just about we're doing this now about gaining sponsors and how to maybe make it a better match by talking to sponsors differently than we have been. And then, later on, I want to talk about like pulling in somebody that does just sponsor coordinating, or pulling how to get somebody to run stats for you, how to start planning your match out, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you how to plan your stages, because I like the way that everybody gets creative. I just shot a match down in South Carolina where I had to reload on damn near I think it was every stage, right? I'm shooting limited. I have to reload on every stage. I have not had a match like that since I was shooting production. Revolver, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's the amount of work that it takes to match direct something is ridiculous. I mean, especially when you get into the level 2s, level 3s, and heaven forbid anybody actually wants to work with certain people and get on a level 4. It's ridiculous. I mean, most people don't really care about anything good you do. It's a very thankless job. They're like, oh yeah, thanks for doing this, but they really it's in passing because you know the person. It's not.
But you do get as a match director, you do get your fulfillment when you do get the people that you respect that come back to you and tell you that was awesome.
Yeah.
If you've been doing a good job and you can actually get people to come, you get some of the GMs to come back to you and be like, man, that was good. Or you get some, even if it's like, man, that was a really good match, but I wish you had done this. And you take that information and you do something with it, right? But I don't know.
Yeah, but
well, guys, listen.
You've run Area 8 a lot for a number of years. John, you've been doing South Carolina for a few years now. How much of that honest, like constructive criticism do you get? And how much, I think the new term is howlers or whatever they say, that just go on social media and talk shit. I mean, that they don't offer to help anything. They don't offer any constructive criticism. They're not there to give you any real information to help you do better. And they just talk shit.
Just stay off of the forums. You'll be good.
I haven't been on Beanos in I don't know how many years. But yeah,
I,
it's one of those things where
You got to stop talking for him to answer your question, Luigi. We only
shit.
got 30
Sorry, man.
seconds left.
All right, go.
yeah, I don't know how much is online because I don't really have enough time to sit there and look at the forums and stuff. But there's a lot of feedback in person, like at A6. You know, some people were still talking about North Carolina. So the feedback is always welcome. But I think it's also important as a match director to keep notes on how your previous match went.